So there's many kinds of OPMs, right? There are the good OPMs and the bad OPMs, and I think the best way to describe the difference between the good OPMs and the bad OPMs is that the good OPMs take less of your money than the bad OPMs. And so the bad OPMs, I just won't mention any names, but the bad OPMs like to take more than 50% of the revenue or maybe 80% of the revenue, and then they basically take away all creative urge away from the actual school itself and the faculty, because they're like, oh, we're giving you all the money and you're going to do everything. And the answer is, that's kind of a lie, right? And so these OPMs that take well over 50% of the money are terrible. I think that I've never really met a school that signed in a contract that quietly over beers would say, I'm so glad that we did that. I'm really unhappy that it was a 10-year contract. But they can't say that publicly because it's a 10-year contract. I think of edX and Coursera as good OPMs, in that they bring a lot to the table. They market, they do things globally that no school will ever be able to do globally. I mean, the University of Michigan could never have the global reach, no matter how many people we hired, that we get by being part of edX and Coursera. And the amount of money that edX and Coursera take, which is non-trivial, but because it's not our core revenue, it's not so bad. And so I see that as a value, right? The marketing of these courses that we don't even know how to market is a tremendous value. And I'm happy to share revenue with Coursera and edX, support them and make them better and make them be as good as they can possibly be and change the world, because I do believe that both Coursera and edX have changed the world in very positive ways, and I think we need to keep investing in that. And so I don't have any urge to have global courses on my campus using my infrastructure. I'm happy to have them in edX and in Coursera. We at the University of Michigan are building a MOOC-based degree. And the University of Michigan is probably the most successful MOOC university on the planet at this point. I don't know if I can prove that, but I believe it to be true. I mean, I think we have more courses, more money than anybody else, and we are starting in MOOC-based degrees. And it won't surprise you that we are taking our own approach to MOOC-based degrees. Our online Master's in Applied Data Science is going to launch in the fall of 2019. It has broken, it's its own disruptive idea, and I love it. It is going to be 36 credits, except that every class is 1 credit and 4 weeks. You can take them 3 times a year. A student can knit together their own path through those classes. You can take 1 year to do it if you're in a hurry, or you can take 2 years to do it. Every class will have teaching assistants. We'll have teaching assistants that are on Slack and on Zoom, and when you get stuck, you will get help like within 24 hours. And we can teach you so much more in a master's degree than we can in a micromaster's or a specialization. And I think that the idea of an online MOOC-style degree it fills a gap. That individual MOOCs are wonderful, specializations, micromasters are wonderful, but then online full degrees are a completely different thing. And the key difference is the pace. And if you can spend a lot of time, at least 50% time, like 20 hours a week, we can get you a good degree, but we can actually teach you some advanced stuff. The problem with a MOOC or a specialization or a micromasters is that your learning is so diffuse that really to become an expert in something and really qualify for a completely new job that you didn't know how to do, it might take you 5 years at the pace of most MOOCs and micromasters. But with actual online degrees, with online support for those degrees, we can move you through material at a pace that after a year or after 2 years, you are truly transformed and you truly know a lot of things that you didn't know before. And so I think that it's just inevitable. But the thing that I like about it is that we at the University of Michigan School of Information are visioning it very differently. These 1-credit classes, the ability for students to repeat classes, for students to drop out. There's a whole layer of adaptive learning that is adaptive learning controlled by the student, not controlled by artificial intelligence. I am not a fan of artificial intelligence. I believe that the students know how to do their learning best, and the teachers, we do the best we can, and the students do the best they can, and if we give students flexibility, they will then use that flexibility to adapt learning to the kind of things that they need. And so I'm imagining people will take a class and then, whoops, that was the wrong class, drop out of that class, wait a couple of months and then take it again, or take a class and then that's more of a prerequisite to that class. They can sort of audit classes. We've made the policy so that you can drop out and retake a class as many times as you want without sort of any kind of financial or completion penalty or any grade point penalty. And so the other thing that's really cool is that why are classes 15 weeks in college anyways? Why? Everybody comes to these conferences and they talk about like disruptive ideas. And they go like, oh, credit hour, this, that, credential, blah, 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 blah. 15 weeks. What about that? Well, why do we have 15 weeks? Well, the reason we have 15 weeks is because we have rooms in these colleges. And it takes a long time to argue about who gets what room on what day. So if you figure out the rooms, you figure out twice a year. You have a room for 15 weeks. You couldn't do rooms for 4 weeks. It would go crazy if you had to do room allocation every 4 weeks. Online, of course, we don't have to worry about that. But here's the thing. Most of the teachers I know, we don't have really good 15 good weeks of material. We have like 5 good weeks of material. And then we got like, okay, what am I do the rest of this 10 weeks? Oh, I can throw some of this in and throw some of that in, some stuff from my other class, who knows what. But an online master's, you're going to get me for 5 weeks. And I'm going to talk about the thing I love, and I'm going to only talk about the thing I love, and I'm going to give you the best 5 weeks I got, and then I'm going to hand you off to another faculty member who's going to have you for the same 5 weeks and give you their best 5 weeks. That to me is transformative, right? Now, are we going to shut down our building? It turns out no. There are advantages to 15. This is what all the idiot disruptors are all about. They're like, 15 weeks have a certain kind of value to them because of the intensity and the cohortness and the closeness of people. And so these online things are total complementary to on-campus things. And I think we just got to stop worrying that any of these things are going to replace each other. And if our goal in life, and my school's goal and my personal goal is to educate as many people and make the world a better place, if that's what our job as a public university is, then all of these things are part and parcel of making the world a better place and educating the whole world.